Day in the shop and a new project. We're going to be working on the wings. These are feather cut cores, which means that the trailing edge of the wing is cut to the taper. Like the horizontal stabilizer, our ailerons are already in here. Once we sheet this entire wing, then we'll go in here and we'll cut the ailerons out. And they'll already be sheeted. They'll all be sanded to the contour of our wing, and be a lot easier to work with. But the first thing we've got to do is we've got to set up where our landing gear goes and where our servo is going to go. Now, what I have here is a piece of semi-transparent plastic film. You can get this on Amazon, and it's called Drafters Tracing Sheets. What we're going to do is we're going to lay these on the plans, and we're going to, how would you say, mark them so that when laid on the wing, it would go in exactly the same place it was on the plans. So one of the things that we can do, we can take our ruler and we can draw the leading edge of the foam core. And we can also go and mark the trailing edge of the foam core. Now, what that does is if we lift this off, we can lay it right back down exactly where it goes without question. When we lay it on the fuselage, we can lay it down exactly where it goes. All we've got to do is line up the trailing edge with this corner. And that's exactly where that goes. So, what we're going to do is we're going to line this up. And this is going to show me exactly where the wheel well is going to be. Where my mount for the strut, my retracts is going to be, and where the spars are going to be. This is a circle template. On here somewhere, I should have a circle exactly the size of circle that I need. That's it right there. Okay. Now I will draw my location for my retract mounts. And we have it. Now we'll draw where our spar is going to be. There. Now you can see the markings on the film, and that will tell me that this will go directly on the plans here. You can see the markings on my drafting transparency and how they will fit right down on top of the plans. And there we have it. Now I take my wing and I lay this down on the plans or on the wing. That tells me exactly where to make my cutouts for my landing gear. Pretty cool. So I need to cut this out and then I'll be back shortly. All right, let's examine what I've done so far. One of the things we need to make sure, since we're not dealing with standard gear, where you can just bend the wires to the right length, but we're dealing with retracts that are going to fold up and hit the middle of a circle on this wing. So what we have to do is we have to measure our strut to the axle. We have to measure our bottom of our plane to the axle. Now, usually my nose wheel is usually a little bit smaller than my main gear.
Give it everything it came over was 55 pounds in the moment.
20 pounds is a big.
So, we've got to make sure that when this gear goes down, that the wheel ends up in the center of this circle on the plans, also on the circle of the on the wing. So I know that I've got 4 inches of strut on the nose from the bottom of the plane, which is also equal to the bottom of the wing to the ground, that I've got to cut this retract so that when it's up from the bottom of the wing to the axle, it's 4 inches. When that gear goes down, that 4 inches is in the center of the cutout in the wheel well on the wing. So now we know that the distance here and there and where this is going to go down, we are good. So then I cut out my pattern. This is my template for cutting out the wing. So let's take a look at our wing. And I've marked these T for top. Man, you don't want to grab a wing and start cutting on it without knowing which is the top of the wing. So I know this is the bottom. And I know that this is my template. And I know my template goes right here. Now what I'm going to do is take a little piece of tape, kind of take this down a little bit so it doesn't shift around on me. Now I can mark my fuselage where the hole is going to be cut. For the landing gear mounts. Like so. Now, this part of the wing, where the 1/4 inch piece of hardwood is going to fit, is a 1/4 inch deep. The section from the middle here where the strut goes is going to be considerably deeper. That's going to be 1 1/8 deep where the strut goes and the cutout for this. So my next step is I'm going to take some plywood, and I'm going to take my template, put it on my plywood, and make some a plywood template that I will put on top of this wing, and then when I go to use my iron to cut these out, I'll have a solid guide that will show me exactly where to cut. So, okay, what we've done is we've taken our template, we cut it out for the holes, to make the markers where we want to put it. So we're done for that for this time right now. Now we've got our template that we cut out of plywood. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that right on top of our marks, like so. And we're going to pin it down. Now, I've taken a soldering iron and I've made a wire loop. This part's going to get real hot. It's going to cut my foam. This is just for this part that's going to be 1/4 inch deep. So we'll give it a chance to warm up. Okay, we've got this set up. This is a wire that I've made, and this is going to be a 1/4 inch plus 1/8 inch of this template right here. Now this bar across here will keep me from going too deep into the foam. Now, this has gotten hot. All I got to do, set it down and drag it. Now what that did is gave me a 1/4 of an inch cut into this foam, in which I will make one of these out of 1/4 inch plywood, and it will sit down in there and be epoxied in, and that will be the mount for the retracts. Now, you saw how simple that was. I've got a very neat cut, not jagged, with picking out. You know, it just makes a very good hole. Now, I've got to cut this one out, this circle. So what I do is I wait for this to cool down just a little bit, and I want to make this cut 2.5 inches deep. So I'll loosen my screw, bring this down to the depth that I need, measure it, tighten it up, double check our measurement. Check our width, depth of our wing, make sure we're right. Always measure twice, cut once. All right, let's zoom in here where you can see what I'm doing. Let my gun get hot. So you pick up a piece of scrap, you can test it to see if it's gotten hot enough yet. This is just a 180 watt cheap soldered iron I got at Harbor Freight. Worth its weight in gold if you're going to be dealing with foam cores. Now, let's see how we cut this. And there we go. Woo, doggy, don't those look good? Nice and neat. Now we can take our template, place it back on here, and they're going to be right exactly where they're supposed to be. And look how neat a job that turned out. just perfect. Now, when I make the real one of these, it's going to fit right down in there and be level with this, so that I can skin right on the top of it. And I can take me some 30-second balsa wood, make me a liner and a bottom. That will look great. Now what I've got to do is I've got to make another template, because I've got to cut out the center section for the strut. You know, this is going to go in here like so, and I've got to cut the section that's this size, this depth here of the wheel well, all the way back to here. So I've got to cut that section out. I've got to cut that out. So now I have to make another template, and I'll do the same procedure, and we'll be good. All right, I've done a little work since you've been gone. We've made a pattern here, and I've taped it on. This is another way that you can attach your pattern to your wing. You can use pins, these little small drilled holes, or you can just tape it down like this. Now what we're going to cut out now is the actual hole for the strut to go down the inside of. So I've already got my soldering iron set up, and I've got it measured to the depth that I want to cut this. We'll let this get hot. Doesn't take it long to get hot. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to take it, we're going to lay it right down against our guide. Going to lay it right against our guide and drag it. Just drag it slow, let it cut. There we go. Now our hole has been cut out now, so that our retract will recess down inside the wing. And it's cut just like that. See how nice and neat that is? Nice smooth edges. All right, we're looking good. Okay, we're back. This is our other wing. I don't know if you can see it through the guide here. It says bottom. Be sure you're working on the bottom of your wing before you do this. And I've laid my template out where my holes are going to have to be cut. I'm going to take my marker and mark it. You see how with using these templates, it just saves you so much time. Plus, they're going to be exactly accurate. with each wing. See, now I've done that. Got it marked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this template, because I am done with it. I won't be using it again. However, I may decide to build another Tipo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this Tipo. Leading edge. So that if I decide to build another Tipo, bang, I have got my template already made for that. It'll save me a lot of time. All right. Let's see, where are we? We have our first template. Now, since I already have my gun set up for the right depth to cut the strut hole, that's what I'm going to cut first. So I'm going to tape this down. So it doesn't move around on me. Get my gun hot. Stick it right down in there and follow my guide. Okay. All right, that's my strut. And now, this will be for the wheel well. And the mounting block for the retract to mount to. Gotta let my gun sit for a few minutes to cool off so I can readjust it for the depth of my landing gear blocks. So, I'll be right back. All right, let's take our tape off and pull our template off. All right. Now, this piece here is not the actual piece that's going to go in this slot. This is just my gauge, so that I can make sure that the top of the plywood is equal to level with the top of the foam, and that when I put my retract in there on top of the gauge, my retract drops all the way down, just like so. See how that goes? Now, now we're just simply making two patterns. A soldering gun with some piano wire bent and stuck in it with a depth gauge. You could make these cutouts in your wings to be just perfect. Be nice and smooth, and instead of trying to take an X-Acto knife and cutting it out and then sitting there picking and ending up with a very rough surface on the inside, what we've got is a very smooth surface that our 1/4 inch will fit into very easily, and be exactly smooth with the top of our foam. And if we desire, which I will do, is I'm going to take some thin balsa wood, and I'm going to line inside the wheel well, the bottom and the walls, as well as the area for the strut. That way that can be sealed, and I won't have to worry about fuel getting inside the wheel well and anything attacking that foam inside there. All right, now we're going to get set up for the next swing.